Hey everyone, Timo here. Lent's almost over, which means Holy Week is right around the corner. It's an important time for most of Christendom, a chance to reflect on what we've done, ask for forgiveness, and try to be better people. It's a spiritual reset button. Along with the usual fasting, not to mention meats and fish Fridays, extra prayer, and doing good for others, confession matters. You go into a little booth, usually with a screen so you can see the priest, and you basically chat about your sins. Sometimes you remember them all, sometimes you need a little list to jog your memory. It's a personal way to admit where you messed up and get some spiritual guidance. But it got me thinking. We talk a lot about individuals owning up to their mistakes. But what about bigger things? Like, what if the entire Philippine broadcasting industry, all those TV networks, radio stations, and online platforms, took a good hard look in the mirror? What kind of, quote, sins, unquote, would they need to confess? That's what we're diving into today. We're going to use the seven deadly sins, not in the religious sense exactly, but more as a way to think about the ethical challenges and potential problems in the industry. It's just a thought experiment, but I think it'll give us something interesting insights into how our media works and how we could make it better. Before we discuss that application, let us explore the origins of that concept. Like the Trinity, the deadly sins aren't explicitly listed in the Holy Scriptures. They emerge from centuries of theological reflection and moral philosophy, tracing back to the 4th century AD. A monk named Evagrius Panicus, living in Egypt, identified 8 evil thoughts that could tempt monks: gluttony, lust, avarice, sadness, anger, acedia, a fancy word for spiritual apathy, vainglory, and pride. This list served as a guide for his fellow monks on their inner struggles, rather than a strict rulebook. Later, John Cassian translated Evagrius' list into Latin, which helped spread it in the West. In the late 6th century, Pope Gregory I refined the list by combining some sins, adding envy, and replacing acedia with sloth, the latter encompassing both physical and spiritual laziness. This made the list to the standard 7 that we know of. This revised version gained popularity, with theologians like St. Thomas Aquinas extensively discussing it in his 13th century work Summa Theologica, solidifying the 7 deadly sins as a cornerstone of Catholic moral thought. Even after the church split, most Protestant denominations retained the concept, albeit with variations. Contemporary figures like Baptist minister Billy Graham have also addressed these vices, underscoring their ongoing relevance. Thus, the 7 deadly sins remain a significant framework for understanding human nature and moral weakness across various Christian denominations. What are these infamous sins about? Let's break it down. 1. Pride. It's a massive ego and feeling superior, embodying the "I'm the best, you're just average" mindset, leading to arrogance and entitlement. 2. Envy. That bitter feeling when someone has you want, a car, talent, or success. It's not about just jealousy, it's being unhappy that they have it. 3. Gluttony. Beyond overeating, it's indulging excessively in anything, driven by a lack of self-control and a craving for instant gratification. 4. Lust. An intense desire, often romantic or physical, that objectifies others and prioritizes selfish gratification over genuine connection. 5. Wrath. Uncontrolled anger, rage, and harms relationships and creates chaos. 6. Sloth. Apathy and laziness, marked by neglecting responsibilities and not engaging with the world, like being stuck in a neutral. 7. Avarice or greed. An insatiable hunger for money and possessions, prioritizing profit over morality, often at the other's expense. Kinda makes you think about politics sometimes, doesn't it? Now, how do these sins manifest in the Philippine broadcasting scene? Just as individuals can err morally, industries do too. Since ordinary humans run the broadcasting and communications sector, they're not immune. Choices made by the media executives, journalists, and content creators can shape society, sway public opinion, influence cultural trends, and impact political outcomes. So, what, quote, sins, unquote, appear in these industries kin to human failings? What behaviors, practices, and systemic issues compare to those deadly sins? Before we get into the practical details, make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell so you can gain keep up with our future content. Now, if we look at these deadly sins, we can see how they play out in our broadcasting world. Like this. Number 1. Pride. When we discuss pride, I'm not talking about that laundry detergent brand or one's all-out declaration of coming out of the closet. I'm referring to that inflated sense of self-importance. For some entities, they constantly tout their ratings and awards while being unable to accept criticism, acting as if they're flawless. They show little interest in actual viewer preferences, dictating what we should watch and think. Examples include ignoring or refusing to correct errors in news stories even when proven wrong, silencing dissent within their team, pushing personal agendas instead of prioritizing the public good, or attacking other networks, presenting only one side of their stories, disregarding diverse viewpoints. And this leads to distrust in the media, an echo chamber where only select opinions prevail, difficulty in critical thinking and meaningful discussions, and continued inequity with the same individuals in power. Number 2. Envy. Some companies are obsessively fixated on their competitors, constantly looking over their shoulders. This competitive envy can get unhealthy. Instead of innovating, they may copy successful show formats, poach top talent from rival networks, or spread damaging rumors. This breeds a toxic environment focused on imitation rather than creativity. Consider this. Networks replicate popular shows from others without adapting them for local audiences. They target prominent names from competitors, disrupting morale and operations. Some spread false information to tarnish rivals' reputations or sabotage their advertising. Others attack journalists or media outlets that comment on them. The consequences? Innovation and creativity are stifled, a race to the bottom ensues, prioritizing ratings over quality, a hostile, distrustful atmosphere develops, and there's less diversity in content and viewpoints. 3. Gluttony. Gluttony extends beyond food. It now encompasses our media consumption. Today, there's an insatiable hunger for sensationalism, crime stories, and outrageous headlines overshadowing meaningful content. Remember classic shows or significant issues? They're fading away, replaced by tactics to grab attention, leaving us with a skewed perspective. Consider this. Crazy crimes and scandals are overhyped, while crucial social issues are ignored. Ubiquitous ads interrupt experience and diminish quality. The focus has shifted from informative content to entertainment, undermining public understanding of important matters. Tragedies are exploited for ratings, turning suffering into a spectacle and invading victims' privacy. Consequently, our view of the world becomes warped, dominated by crime and negativity. Genuine discussions on real issues are scarce, and civic engagement declines. Our journalism's ethical standards are eroded, and we become desensitized to violence and suffering, accepting it as a norm. Number 4. Lust. Lust has now evolved from its original meaning into an obsession with juicy scandals and controversy. Consider how much time we spend gossiping about celebrity breakups and cheating scandals, and how much inappropriate content kids can easily encounter. We're fixated on shock value, while important issues are sidelined. For example, movies and TV frequently exploited sex and violence to attract viewers. We prioritize celebrity gossip over significant news. Unrealistic beauty standards are pervasive. Our efforts to protect kids from inappropriate content online and on TV are inadequate. The consequences? It objectifies people, particularly women. It normalizes violence and harmful behaviors. It distorts our perceptions of the world and relationships, and it poses serious risk to the mental and emotional well-being of young people. Number 5. Wrath. When we become extremely angry, those feelings often take control, impacting everything around us. News becomes more about drama than conveying facts. We isolate ourselves in our political and religious bubbles, neglecting others' viewpoints. If the news represents only one side and exacerbates tensions instead of providing clarity, how can we avoid increasing division? Consider these examples. Media platforms spreading hatred and violence against specific groups. Misinformation and propaganda skewing public opinion. News fostering fear and division through biased reporting and incendiary comments. And silencing dissenting and critical voices. The consequences include increased polarization and social division, erosion of trust in institutions and authorities, promotion of violence and discrimination, and undermining democracy and the rule of law. Number 6. Sloth. Sloth in broadcasting refers to a lack of effort in producing quality work. It signifies avoiding deep investigative journalism and neglect fact-checking of prominent figures. Instead of creating thought-provoking content, they rely on the same formulas and play it safe. In essence, they are simply lazy. For example, a slothful broadcaster may skip fact-checking and verification, favor sensationalism and clickbait over genuine reporting, shy away from tough or controversial issues, opting for predictable content, and fail to innovate or understand audience preferences. So what happens because of this? The spread of false information, decreased journalistic quality, less public trust in the media, and lack of diversity and innovation in content. And number 7, greed. Ever feel like some companies are way too fixated on profit? They say it's just business, but sometimes it often seems like sheer greed. They cut corners to save money, compromising quality. You're bombarded with ads, including political ones, especially during this election cycle. And news outlets seem more focused on selling stories than reporting facts, neglecting local news in favor of profit. Consider this: they use cheaper materials or rush production to save costs. You're overwhelmed by ads, more than what's prescribed by the industry limits. Some engage in questionable, even illegal practices for profit. They prioritize advertising and shareholders over the public good. The outcomes include lower quality content and services, erosion of ethical standards in the industry, exploitation of workers and consumers, and damage to the environment and society. Now look, we all make mistakes. Just as Lent prompts us to reflect on our shortcomings, the broadcasting industry should do the same. Media plays a crucial role in our world. It can inform, empower voices, and hold power accountable, but it can also spread mis and disinformation, fuel hate, and perpetuate harmful stereotypes. It's time for some introspection, akin to confession. They must ask, how can we improve? We deserve media that is not only well produced, but also honest and responsible, prioritizing the public good over profits, promoting ethics, encouraging critical thinking, and fostering a more just society. This isn't about assigning blame. It's about initiating a meaningful dialogue on enhancing our broadcasting industry for all Filipinos. Hey everyone, we reached the end of the video. What are your Holy Week plans? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Are you focusing on reflection, relaxation, or a bit of both? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video. I wish you all a blessed Holy Week and Happy Easter afterwards. See you next time!